everybody, and welcome to the next installment of Lady FLINT's installment. I pray you all are well and blessed and highly favored. You guys will never guess who I have today. I have been trying to get this person on my show for the longest. I know y'all say I say that about everybody. Yes, I do, but especially been trying to get this young man on my show. Such a king, and his name is MARRIO Singletary, better known as Mr. Singletary. Yeah! Y'all show him some love. Show him some love.
It's good to be here with you today.
Yes,
Thank you for having me too.
Oh, come on, man.
We've been trying to get this together, so.
Yeah, and look at God. He brought us together. So, we have a lot to talk about. Yes. We got a lot to talk about, but I just wanted you all to welcome Mr. Singletary here today. And we're going to get started if you guys don't mind. So, first of all, I did say your name, but I would like for you to repeat your name, where you're from, and tell us that where you're working at and everything, and then we'll get into the other stuff. So start out with your name.
All right. Well, please. My government name is MARRIO Rangel Singletary. I am from the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois.
All right.
And I am a barber. I am a barber stylist of 35 years this August. Yeah, right.
It's a long time to be standing on your feet like that.
It's a long time to do anything.
And dealing with that too, but standing on your feet like that and dealing with all kind of people and spirits and personalities.
Oh yeah.
Wow. So how did you get from Chicago to here? How long have you been living here, and how did you get started as a barber? So let's start out with, how did you get from Chicago to here?
Okay, I got here from Chicago. Actually, it had nothing to do with barbering at all. I was on an independent label called Foresight Records down in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh,
so my buddies and I had a group. We were called CBG, Created by God.
Oh, I like that. I love that.
But we were R&B group though, so
I still love it.
Bit of a contradiction with our song lyrics back in the day, but
okay, I got you. I still love it.
But thank you. But that's how I got here initially. My first visit to Florida was in 1993. It was like November in Chicago, so we were just happy. We had never been out of Chicago, none of us. So when we flew into Miami, we saw palm trees, we were blown away. Like, what? We left snow.
All that cold.
We left snow on the ground in Chicago. Yeah.
Yes.
So we came back, we renegotiated our contract, and sure enough, we came back in '94, and that's when we really started to work heavily, on our album, which never materialized, but I think that was the will of God.
Right.
Ultimately, that was the will of God, yeah.
Wow, so you were on an independent label, and you had producers and writers?
We were producers and writers. We were the producers and writers.
Oh.
We were a very talented group of young men. There were 4 of us.
Wow.
Yeah, we had it going on. We're the best group you'd never heard.
Wow, and you know what? To be honest with you, I'm going to piggyback on that.
Okay.
A lot of your best artists, excuse my English, are the ones that are not discovered yet. Yeah, and I always say that. That's why I tell people, keep pushing. That's amazing.
I'm sitting next to one right now.
What? He's talking about himself, guys.
No,
have you ever heard this man sing?
I'm talking about Miss FLINT.
We're talking about you. Thank you so much.
God bless you. You are phenomenal.
Oh, yes, thank you. You're sweet. So are you. And it was a pleasure working with you, and I pray we work together. We're gonna work together again. So
we definitely will.
That's a given. Yeah. Yeah. So, do you still keep up with the guys? The
2 of my brothers are still here. They are both down in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, cool.
One of my brothers, Rob, went over to New York, so he's been in Brooklyn since about 1995. He never went back to Chicago. He liked New York, so he stayed there in New York. He's actually in Park Slope, Brooklyn. He's been there forever. Wow. He's still making music too. So the 4 of us are still producers and still writing and doing our thing. When God gives you a gift, you use it.
Yeah.
You utilize it.
You utilize it, most definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I think that your gift, these are God's gifts. I always say that. Anybody knows me knows that I say that.
Amen.
But I also believe in my heart this is my belief now. What you do with your gift is your gift back to God.
Yes.
That's my belief. He didn't give you your gifts no matter what it is, a barber, a lawyer, a doctor, a surgeon, whatever your gift is, I think that is your whatever how you use it is your gift back to God, because these are His gifts.
Amen.
And He didn't have to give it to us, but He did.
Yeah, He did.
And I'm so grateful and thankful.
So
yeah.
Me too.
So yeah, you're gifted. You're gifted. So you're telling me that you came from, that's how you got from there to Chicago. So, but how did you transform yourself into a barber? I mean, was that just something you picked up on the side as a backup?
For me, actually, no. I started barbering in Chicago when I was around 13 years old. So let me tell you my barber horror story. But it was actually an inspiration to me too. So I was 11 years old. It was summertime. I hadn't had a haircut since school had let out, and I had a big old fro, Miss Flint. So I had probed around because I'd seen my brother Darren, my oldest brother, like coming out of the bathroom with a set of clippers. I'm like, oh, so he has clippers. So I probed, and I went through the drawers, and they were in my mom and dad's dresser drawer, and I found those clippers, right? So I snuck them into the bathroom, and I went in there. You did. So I put like the largest guide attachment on there, and I said, okay, I'm going to cut my hair down a little bit, and I'm going to see if anybody notices. So I put it on, I cut a little bit off. I went out, I went around the family, nobody said anything, right? I said, so I'm going to go and I'm going to cut a little bit more off. I go in, I put the guide attachment on, the thing comes off. I cut a huge gash in my head, but luckily I didn't cut it down to the scalp. So
thank God.
I went out, I showed my mom and my dad, so they laughed me to scorn. And then there was a young man, my brother that's closest to me in age, he's 5 years older than me. I'm the baby, by the way, I'm the baby of 5. And so he had a good friend, Andre Thornton, that lived in our neighborhood. And Andre was a barber, and I didn't even know he was a barber. So my dad knew, and he took me down. Andre cut hair in the living room. Like I said, he was only 5 years older than me. Andre was cutting my hair, and not only were they talking about, like how nice my hair was. I didn't even know how nice my hair was on all that hair. But they were saying, like, he's doing such an amazing job. And I was inspired by that. And I was like, you know what? If he can do it,
you could do it.
I could do it, right?
Here it is.
So by the time I was around 13, I started cutting my buddy's hair. And we had moved to another neighborhood, and I'm in high school. So it's like, you know what? I'm cutting hair. I'm in the basement.
You could make you some money, too.
I was making $3 a haircut.
Yeah.
See, the thing for me with cutting hair was that growing up in Chicago, when I turned 11, well, really 12, when we moved away from my neighborhood I grew up in, a lot of my friends were beginning to sell drugs and get into trouble, join gangs. And my mother didn't want their fuss.
Of course not.
She had 4 boys and a daughter, and she was really concerned about her sons.
Of course.
Growing up in our community. So they moved us, and that was a good thing, they moved us. So, so I didn't want to sell drugs. I was determined I didn't want to sell drugs to make money. So I worked little odd jobs. I did everything, to stay out of trouble. And I was good at cutting hair. It was like God had given me a gift.
That is a gift.
It was a gift, yeah. You know what? But something like I didn't even have to work for it. I didn't have to go to school for it. I mean, I
just came natural.
It came natural, and I really believe it saved me. That and my love for music, I believe, saved me from trouble. And Chicago's a rough city. You can see now.
Yeah.
Not much has changed.
Wow. Wow, and that's how you started barbering.
That's how I started barbering.
Gosh, that's amazing. And now you're still barbering. Would you like to tell us the name of the shop and how?
And
how long you've been there? Because, before you get started, I would like for you to tell us. From my stumping ground from Delray Beach, how you started in Delray Beach.
Yeah, when I came here. Yeah, I sure did. When I came here from Chicago, when I came back in 1996, I was here in 94, and I went back, and I was there from 95 to August 96 when I moved back. And I was working at a shop called Carl's on Atlantic. So that's the avenue, right? Delray's Ave, right? Okay, so I was on Atlantic Ave. Carl's is right around,
Carl's.
Yeah, it's something else now. It's another shop now. But then I left there and I went over to 2nd Street, Northeast 2nd, and I went to Top Notch, Angie Gray.
Yeah,
Yeah, and her, Rhonda Miller. So I worked with them for a while. And then I moved around, went to Boynton. I was telling you about the young lady Audrey. I went and worked, with her at their shop. Yeah, so
I never knew that when we first met, and you told me, I was like, I never seen you before.
Yeah, I spent some time.
And I worked. I was born and raised in Delray Beach, and I'm like, I
lived
never
in
seen
Delray
you
for a little
before.
bit too.
Really? Where? If you don't mind me asking.
Okay, what's the Carver Middle School, right? That's on
The
Atlantic.
old Carver.
The old Carver, right?
Not the one on Barwick Road.
No.
Which one are you talking about? The old one, yeah. Okay.
Right off of, what is that?
12th Avenue. Was it 12th Avenue?
No, maybe it's not Carver. There's a middle school right on Atlantic going west before you get to...
Before you get to where? Military Trail?
Yes.
That's Carver Middle. That's the
Carver
new Carver Middle. That's Barwick
So that
Road.
is Barwick, okay.
Yeah, that's Barwick Road.
So we lived on Barwick, but behind, there were trailer homes, and if you went further back, there were some houses back there.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were renting a house back there.
Oh, wow.
So we lived back there for about 3 years.
Oh, okay.
About 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, because everyone knows that the Carver now, the old Carver, everybody know that's Village. That used to be Village Academy. I was just there Sunday, and I think that the Carver is still there. And then in the back is Village Academy, and they build it up into high school, middle school, high school. But because I had Miss Terry on, and she was telling me about how she does pre-K. She's over pre-K, and they come from pre-K and they go right into Village Academy. They have the choice, and I said that's beautiful because when my kids was there, that was a long time ago. We didn't have that, so I think that's beautiful. They leave a surrounding place, and then they can go to school.
Yeah, you're right there. And
you're right there in the community, that's and you go right into
mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So how long did you work at Top Notch?
I was at Top Notch for about 2 years. About 2 years, yeah.
And then the other shop?
The other shop, let me see, I went there around, because I was in cosmetology school around that time. When I left Top Notch, I did go to South Tech.
I was just going to say, you probably went to South Tech.
Mm-hmm. I did. I went to South Tech. It was cheap, too, $1,500. And I got a Pell Grant.
And they're still there. They're still there.
They're still there.
Doing that's where I got my nurse's license from.
Yeah,
South Tech.
And you have like high schoolers that are going there now.
Yeah,
which is a wonderful opportunity.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing because the cosmetology was right across the hall from the nursing. And oh my God, we should smell them fumes over there. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how these people smell those fumes all day,
Yeah.
But you can see them in their little apron. But it's a good program. It's very good.
I was actually going to be a woman hairstylist. I was like, you know what? Because I had barbered for years. And I'm like, okay. My ex-wife, though, I don't want women trying to come on to you. That was I'm not lying. That was the reason I did not become a hairstylist. I said, I'm a man's man, Like, girl, let me use what I'm working with. You know what I'm saying? Unbutton the shirt, show him a little chest. Some tips. You know what I'm saying? You gotta raise these kids.
Ooh, I know that's right.
But no, it didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? So I got my little cosmetology license, and I just cut hair. Yeah.
But that's a good thing. So that's a beautiful thing. So now let's get into your passion.
Okay.
Now I know you have more than one passion.
I do.
All right. Well,
honestly, I'm not passionate about cutting hair.
And you know what? I get that.
I never was.
I get that.
I never was. But I got to tell you, I got to backtrack a little bit. I got to take you back to 8, 9 years old in Chicago. So my love for music, speaking of passion, my love for music, we had, you remember that piece of furniture? It had like, it was like a record player.
Mm-hmm,
and it had
Look, I kind of felt you was going to say that because we had one too.
All right.
The furniture, but you open it up in the middle and the record player is right there. Yes, sir.
Each side you could store stuff. So we had records and 45s, and I would go in there and I would play all of my mom's and dad's Stax music and all the other companies and all the artists, OJ's, Al Green. So I started from there. And then my sister Deborah had all the funk, all the Earth, Wind and Fire, the Cameo, the Parliament Funkadelic. She had all the. I would go in there, and when I learned how to take the album out of the cover, she watched me. She taught me. She said, because I needed to get a break from my big brothers, because we grew up in an apartment in Chicago, so we lived in a 3-bedroom apartment with 1 bathroom.
Oh wow!
Right? There was 7 of us.
Ooh.
So I was in a room with my 3 big brothers. We had 2 sets of bunks. Of course, my sister had to have her own room.
Of course.
And then mom and dad had their room, you know what I'm saying? So them boys used to drive me crazy because I'm the baby. They used to terrorize me.
You probably drove them crazy.
I didn't do it. I was a good little boy. So my sister, to give me some refuge, she would let me come in her room. So when I learned how to take the albums out and put the record on there and put the needle without scratching her albums, she gave me free will.
It's a way to do it.
And I had to put the record back in the sleeve.
Yeah, it's a way to do it.
Put it back in the cover. Yeah.
Definitely.
And so that was my getaway. So my sister had, and I know you remember this, the Barbie doll head. It was just a head. It was a big, and it had the little, and you could put the makeup on it. So yeah. So I go in there. So I had no friends in there. So I'm listening to music, and I had that Barbie doll head. So I'll be playing with that Barbie doll head. I should have known that I was gonna do some hair. I'm playing with the Barbie doll head, and I'm listening to music, and I'm reading the album covers, and I'm like, I'm going on a journey. Like
it does take you on the journey, doesn't it?
Isn't it an amazing thing?
It's a whole different world.
We were so blessed to come up and have
in
that
an
experience.
era like that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Wow.
You know it shaped us.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And it is a way, guys. I'm gonna tell you, vinyl is the best. There is a way, like he said, to take those records out without scratching them and also placing them to be played. There is a way to do that.
There is a way.
A lot of these kids now, they don't know nothing about it. I still have my record collection. I to me, vinyl is the best.
I had an amazing vinyl collection. I lost it, and God have mercy. But one day I'll restore it.
Of course. Vinyl to me is the best sound. It's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
takes you back.
Yeah, takes you way back. So we're going to talk about your other passions.
Okay.
So I want you to tell that, and then we're going to save the singing part for last,
Absolutely.
if you don't mind. So let's talk about that. You can.
So, strangely enough, because I've desired to do music for so long, and I came to a point. I was a praise and worship pastor for a few years at a church in Green Acres, and then I kind of just fell away. I fell away from ministry and everything for a while, and so I didn't do much. I did some production. I wrote some stuff. I thought I would come out as a gospel artist, because I went through a time of testing and I fell, and as God was restoring me, with His love, I began to write out my heart.
Right.
And I thought I would, at that time, just really go forward with that. But I didn't. So for a while, I didn't know what I was passionate about. I knew I wasn't passionate about cutting hair. I never had been, truly. But I was grateful for the gift.
Of course, because it paid the bills,
absolutely,
too.
Raised 5 kids. And I did own a shop for 8 years, too, with my ex-wife.
Wow.
Yeah, 8 years in Lantana.
Now, where was that?
Right here in Lantana.
That's right, you did
It was
tell
right
me
here
that.
in Lantana, on Lantana Road, yeah.
And what was the name of it?
Creative Source, Hair Artistry.
Okay. And how long did you do that? I'm sorry,
we had that shop for 8 years.
Wow, what a blessing.
Since we're talking about that hair journey, I may as well throw that in there also.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
That was part of my
journey.
Here in Florida, absolutely.
Amazing.
But yeah, I for a while, I didn't really know what I was passionate about. So I prayed, and this was only a couple months ago, and I asked God. And one of the things that I've always loved about being a barber was the people. The relationships that I established over the years. The times that I received from God, and the many times that God used me to speak into the lives of people, to be a vessel. Behind that chair has been my pulpit.
Yeah, and I'm gonna piggyback off that. I'm sorry.
No, fine.
Sometimes that is all what people. You are the Bible, and what I mean by that, sometimes that's all they'll hear from a word about the Bible, because some people just don't, you know. You got people that are church hurt. And they, you know, the church is supposed. This is my opinion. Yes, in my opinion, I think the church is a place where you go for a refuge to get your battery recharged for the next week. You already going out there in the world fighting demons, fighting spirits, and fighting all kind of stuff, and going home and fighting World War II and III and all of this, and 5 and 6 and 7. You know what I'm saying? But then when you come to church, you don't want to be bothered with all that. You come in there, it's a hospital. You know what I mean? It's there. It should be. Exactly. You got people in there doing all kinds of stuff, and they just come in there, look to see what you got on, gossiping and all. Don't nobody want to be bothered with that. Well, you know what I'm saying?
The part of that, you know, is that it's whose agenda, you know, are we looking to carry out? God's or our own?
Exactly, and you're absolutely right, and that's why I said sometimes, and I said all that. I'm sorry to cut you off, but sometimes when I said all that to say this, sometimes you will be that person's only Bible that they're hearing. You know what I mean? Because I had a lot of people tell me, and I agree with it. They said that's why I don't go to church. They said because they got all this stuff in here. It's a soap opera, this, that, and the other. But you know, and that's why I said you come there and you get your hair cut or something or whatever, or what, like you say, ministry wherever you are. Sometimes that's all the person hears.
You know what's
the Bible and stuff. You know
what's funny, Miss Lynn?
Coming from you.
Yeah, I've had some really wonderful opportunities with ministry because, well, to get back to what my passion, one of my passions is, when I prayed and I asked God to show me, He revealed to me that my passion is people.
I believe that. And
you know what? And I think God gave me a magnetic personality. People are drawn to me. He's given me love for people, and I have a heart to like restore people's confidence. I like to let people know that they're relevant, that they matter.
You know, good
because it's like we lose confidence, you know, as we get older. We go through things in life. You know, there are times we've walked with God and then we fall away and we don't think God loves us. You know, some people are just lost. Some people are having identity crisis. You know, even at 40 and 50 years old, people are lost and they don't know who they are. I've been very blessed to be able to be a light, but also be very human. I've fallen apart in front of some of these men and some of these women clients that I've had, but then they've seen God restore me. And the blessing in that is just seeing the human side of a believer.
Yeah.
You know, I went through something last week at work with one of my coworkers, and I blew up. And that Saturday after, I said to God, Lord, I wish I could just be perfect. I wish I didn't have to go through anything, any tests, any trials. Right. You know, I wish I didn't have to repent for anything. You know, I just wish I could just walk up right before you all the time and just do everything right. And then I laughed to myself and I said, thank you for your grace.
And mercy.
And your mercy. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that's not going to happen. But I felt that way because I'm like, you know what, God? Because people are watching me. And you know what? Our lives are a testimony. We don't have to say a word. It's how we live.
You don't.
It's how we live.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So that's one of my passions. It's one of the things I'm most passionate about. And I'll tell you something funny. The moment God exposed that to me, somebody pissed me off so bad 2 days later. I was ready to choke him out. I'm at work. And I'm telling one of my good buddies, Mike, I said, yeah, Mike, God told me, man, he showed me, because Mike Harper, this is one of my good friends. Yeah,
choke him out.
Oh, I was going to choke him out. And I'm like, God, and all I could do was laugh. I'm like, now here I am. You've told me that people are my passion, and somebody comes along and just pisses me off, and I'm ready to get at them. But that's the beauty, like I said, the beauty of the human side of a believer.
Yeah.
I believe that. I mean, like, we're not perfect.
Of course not. We're far from it.
The Bible says that, God shall complete the work that he's begun in us even until the coming of Christ. So if it takes that long, or if he takes me home before Christ returns, that work is going to continue being done in us.
Most definitely.
So that's an ongoing day-to-day thing.
It is. And my mother used to always say, I'm going to piggyback off that. She used to always tell us, she said, baby, all kinds of people make a world. So I have to it's like you take the good, the bad, the ugly, and indifferent, and you just do the best you can because you're human, you're fighting flesh. And the flesh is weak.
It is.
So you have to, and I have to tell myself that, I'll be like, oh, I want to say something, but like you said, you want to choke them out. I'd be like,
oh yeah, that was a real thing. That was a real place.
Yeah.
And
of course it is. And that is
and I got big hands. So
yeah, you do. Well, mine little, but
got the job done, though. I'm telling you. Yeah.
So you just have to. We just have to keep and stay prayed up. I'm serious. I'll be like, y'all over there saying all that crazy stuff. I'll be thinking all kinds of, but and I have to ask the Lord to forgive me. I ain't gonna say it on TV, but I'm like, I have to ask the Lord to forgive me because we talked about it. You already know. You already know. I'll be like, Lord, help me, Jesus, because the nicest people, their other side is just as extreme.
That's
Lord have mercy. And that's why we
same thing that makes you laugh or make you cry.
Yeah, it will. So we just have to stay prayed up. So I feel you. And I appreciate your honesty and being transparent and saying that because none of us are perfect.
No, we're not.
Yeah, and that's the first thing I tell people. I'm not perfect, but this is how I feel, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. So when did you discover that people was your passion? When did you discover that?
I really think that God gave me the clarity in that moment just a couple of months ago. But,
really?
Yeah, just a couple months ago.
That's why I say you said a couple of months ago.
After over 30 years of barbering. I mean, I came to a point that you can do anything for so long that it's almost like you're going through the motions, right? So you don't always recognize what's happening in the moment, right? You're just there, you turn the clippers on, and I got a book full of people. I got 15, 16 people on my schedule. I get in, I pray and ask God to bless my day, bless the work of my hands, and bless my clients, bless my coworkers, you know what I'm saying? And watch over us, and I'm working. And then everything that transpires, in the day, in the course of the day.
Right.
But you do that for so long, it's like, it just becomes like
a cycle.
Automatic. It's
like a cycle, yeah.
So you don't always appreciate all the things that are happening, and you don't always give account for everything that's happening, But God is moving, and God is doing things,
Right.
And it's like, God, there have been, that time in particular, He showed me, He gave me a glimpse, of why that was so, why people are my passion. It just came back to the love. And the connections that have been made, and I've seen people, I have brothers that have come and they were just starting recovery. They were just starting their recovery journey. And I've seen these men go on to flourish. I've seen young men from high school, from middle school. One of my good friends, Miller DeMesman, God bless him, he's the owner of Dream Machine Recording Studios. He once looked at me as a father figure. I shared a story with you earlier. I shared that same story with him. He told me, I look at you differently as a man now. I have much more respect for you than I ever had.
Well, yeah.
Because you know what? Because I was willing to expose my heart to him, right?
Yeah, you're being honest.
Yeah, just being honest, right? So I've had relationships like that, and they've turned into lifelong relationships. Like he's gone on and he's prosperous and he's flourishing, and it's just such a blessing to see that, and there's so many other things that I've seen, and God has blessed me to be a part of those lives, in some way. God has blessed me to make a contribution, to make a deposit into some of those lives, many of those lives, and
that's a blessing.
It's a blessing, and you know what? I've enjoyed every opportunity. I'm about to cry.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's
because you have a good heart. That's
it's like,
so that's okay.
But you know what? It gave me a sense of purpose, something greater than myself. you know.
And see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Something greater than yourself.
Yeah.
Very well said. That's perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I know that you mean that. You know, I've kind of got a glimpse of your heart, and anyone knows that I had the blessing and the privilege to sing with Mr. Mario in intonation, Motown music, and more. And I tell you, we had so much fun because I tell people if you can't have fun in doing what you're doing, what's the sense in doing it?
Yeah.
You know, and
absolutely.
I enjoyed every minute of it. It was fun. I mean, made a sister want to sing. You know, and I just enjoyed it.
I was giving Miss Flint, just so you guys know, I was giving her flowers a bit earlier before we started filming, and I was letting her know how she brought the best out of me, because she would go on that stage and she would work so hard and put her whole heart. And I told her, I said, you were like the championship Bulls. You know, if I compared that group to that team, well, this is all Michael Jordan. You know, and I told her you made everybody better, and whoever wasn't doing their job, you exposed them because you gave so much of yourself.
Oh God!
You worked so hard, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let her do all the work.
Yeah.
You know, so I did my part. I had to do my part. Come on, man. Come on. I had to do my part. Yeah.
You gonna make me cry.
Yeah.
That's
the truth. It's
what
the truth.
A compliment, Michael Jordan.
Listen, come on now.
Michael Jordan.
Showtime.
Definitely was the best. One
Showtime.
of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. I am so humbled by that because, and you're the Michael Jordan too.
Oh,
I mean, he did make my job easier because I didn't have to work as hard. But I mean, I enjoy it because I love doing what I'm doing.
That's what you do.
You know, I'm passionate about it. But it does help when you have somebody who takes it as serious as you do and study your craft. You know, you have to appreciate your craft. You have to study it. You have to work at it. Some people have to work at it a little bit harder, and I understand that. You know what I mean? And some people, it just comes naturally, but never take it for granted. You know, always just, you know, and you're supposed to bring out the best of each other. And that's what we did when we were on stage, as well as off the stage. So,
you know, and I think that for the people that have to work at it harder, it speaks to their dedication, you know, to what they want to do, you know what I'm saying, to their desire to do it. And that's a great thing too, you know. And really being your best at something, you know, it inspires people. Yeah, it does. It inspires them to work harder. And that's what you did for me. You inspired me to work harder. Oh my God. Because I really hadn't sang in a long time.
Thank you.
You know, I can't tell. I was with the Marcia Mitchell. I love them. Her and her husband. Oh yeah, they're great. I was with them for a while, and that's how I met Troy McCrae. Yeah, I sang with him momentarily there, you know, and he moved on, but I was there in that company. And that's how I met Troy. I love that brother. Troy's good. And what a gift. What a gift. What a gift. Right. The whole family. The whole family is gifted. My God. Yes, they're like the Winans of South Florida. Mm-hmm. You better know it. I'm telling you. And so we were talking about passion. So you know what? When I was like the songwriter of our group, and I was supposed to be the lead singer initially. But when I came you had it all. But we had Antoine Love. And Antoine Love was the most phenomenal vocalist. And I wish the world could have got to hear him sing. I've never heard, but my brother, love you. It's just incredible. God bless him. And what an inspiration. What a voice. And so I came here and I got all these allergies. I'm like, what's going on with me? So I had to write. I had to flip it and write. And I didn't even realize that I had any interest to do music production. I had never done it before. Really? I had never done any music production. I had never played the piano. I had never done anything. So in 1994, when our deal fell through, we were about to sign with MCA Records. Oh my goodness! That was we had a deal on the table. The label we were on, they tried to counteract the deal. They wanted to get some ridiculous amount of money for us. Oh, of course. We had to shot video. How it works. Yeah, we had to finish our project. Unfortunately. So they dropped the deal, and so we just kind of breached our contract and just let it die out, and we went and did our own thing. So I was dating my ex-wife at the time, and they had a friend of the family, a black Frenchman named Jean-Marie. I met him on my 24th birthday. He gave me a check And me and the guys, so at this point there were only 3 of us because my friend Rob, I told you he'd gone to New York.
New York. Mm-hmm.
He gave us a check on my 24th birthday for $5,000.
Ooh.
We went straight out and we bought recording equipment.
Oh, cool.
And that's when I started learning.
And that's when you started learning how to do music production.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
And we were staying at the Bobby Riggs Plantation Hotel down in Fort Lauderdale.
Is that hotel still there?
No, they haven't condemned it, but it's closed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this is an amazing story, and I would like for you to tell us where can we find you on all your social medias.
Yes.
If you like to give your phone number, that's fine. If not, that's fine too.
Social media, you can go on, if you want to check out any of my music, it's under Mr. Singletary. On Instagram, it's Mr. Singletary, M-I-S-T-E-R, last name S-I-N-G-L-E-T-A-R-Y. You can also go on Facebook, it's Mr. Singletary. Again, I have a music page, and that's pretty much, and YouTube as well. I have some things out there, but I'm currently working on some new things too, and looking forward to working with some artists. That's the next thing.
Y'all hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where do you see yourself in the next 4 to 5 years with your music and with the barbershop? Now, you didn't tell us what barbershop you work at and how do they go about getting appointments. You can tell us that in 5 minutes.
Very quickly, I currently work at Ace Cuts on North Lake Boulevard. In Keating, we're in the Publix Plaza where there's a Duffy's and there's and you can just call the shop and make appointments if you want. I am looking to retire very soon. This August makes my 35th year. I was managing that shop. I had been there for 10 years prior. It was MVP. The owner sold it. I'm going to make it quick for you. The new owner bought it. He made me the manager. But just recently in February of this year, I went to him and I told him, well, I was the manager for a year, but I went to him this February and I told him that, January, and I told him in February, I'd be reducing my schedule down to 3 days a week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, my busiest days. Because I started my own company with a good brother of mine, songwriting, music production, and recording. We are Platinum Touch Recordings, LLC. So I needed to make some time for myself.
Right, I got you.
You learn, and my business partner was telling me last night, he once heard someone say that you have to spend more time working for yourself than working your job.
For somebody else.
Building
your dream instead of theirs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
gotcha.
So I was demoted back from management, but it was okay because God spoke to me and told me you weren't fired, you were freed.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Won't he do it?
Yeah, won't he do it?
Yeah. So when you weren't fired, you were freed.
Right. So tell us the number, and they can.
The number is 561-557-6667, and that is Ace Cuts on North Lake Boulevard in Palm Beach Gardens.
Okay, and they can make appointments, or can they come as a walk-in as well?
They can come as a walk-in. They can make an appointment. Yeah, they can. We have 12 barbers, so. But I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm moving on.
That's right, ladies
Mr. Singletary is checking out.
That's right. So once more, tell us all your platinums, your social platinum, then your social platforms, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Yes, you could reach me on Instagram at Mr. Singletary, MISTER, SINGLETARY. The same for Facebook. I have a music page there, and also on YouTube, I have some videos posted. I have things like this where I've sat and I've done some promotional stuff, like for songs that were going to come out, or just kind of just talking about myself as an artist, as a producer.
Sounds good. So, ladies and gentlemen,
this time went fast, didn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Oh my God.
But guess what, guys? I'm going to have Mr. Singletary on again at a later date.
I would love that.
And because we couldn't cover everything, but I'm going to have him on again. So remember, thank you, Diaspora TV. Thank you for such a beautiful show as this, and all the rest of the shows, of course. Thank you, Mr. Allen. Much, much love and respect to you, and Mr. Donald. I thank you, and thank you for my guest today. Mr. Singletary, thank you again, and remember, I love you more. You can find him again on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, love you guys. We're gonna say good night.
Good night.
Good night. We love you.
God bless you.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe, everybody.